I'm going to retell this. Okay. So this young buck, Chico, I met him. He had long hair. He was riding a ninja or some kind of super bike. And I used to do that all too when I was younger, but I'm like, oh, here's a young guy after my own heart. Anyway, he asked me, who my favorite Greek philosopher was. And I'm like, wow, okay, deep question, first of all, right? So I'm like, is it Aristotle? Is it Socrates? Um, okay, Plato. I'm going to settle on Plato. So I said Plato, and he goes, and then he wasn't satisfied with that answer. And then he asked me, what do you like about Plato? What's your favorite Plato? I'm like, oh crap. Now I got to go back into my memory banks and try to remember something about Plato, right? So I'm like, okay, allegory of the cave, allegory of the cave. And if any of you guys know that story, it talks about how Plato imagined us as being people in a cave with a light behind us, shining shadows onto a wall. And we believed that that was our reality, was the shadows that were reflected on the wall. And in the allegory, it leads us to the conclusion that we need to find out where the light source was behind us, that there was much more there than what's being reflected in our current view of life. And that's what I got out of Plato's allegory. But since then, Chico and I have become friends. We share thoughts on spiritual topics and philosophical discussions. I'm 56 years old. Chico is 26. Is that right, Chico? 30-year difference, right? And we talk to each other like we're brothers, and Chico and I have done this exercise that he's about to talk about finding your why. Chico is going to be um, uh, receiving his regional vice president promotion probably next month with our company at 26 years old. He's in my opinion, everything I think that he should be, and everything I think all of us should be, and it's never too late. So, Chico, I was going to go. Let me take 5 minutes here just to kind of go through what's going on in the economy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we're going to get right to you, brother.
Yep. That sounds like a plan. I'm excited. I'm ready to take some notes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
here's our last week. Okay, the Fed raised 50 basis points, 0.5% as expected. They expect the gross domestic product growth to slow and also the unemployment rate to rise. This was their reasoning behind what they did. Fed officials mentioned unemployment rate is rising to 4.6, gross domestic product slowing to 0.5%. The Fed seems willing to risk the economy and labor market in their focus on lowering inflation. Recent reports showed CPI at 7.1, slowing inflation. So inflation is slowing. What does that mean? That means the purchasing power behind your dollar is not being killed as much as it was 2 months ago. So inflation is one of our worst enemies, but the funny part is we put the Fed in charge of it, and they're actually the cause of it. in their printing of so much money. And when we say printing, we don't actually mean printing presses. We mean loaning money out. So they are slowing the ability of banks to loan money, which means that companies that are weak and have been relying on this are going to suffer. Okay. And that's already been factored in to what's going on in the markets. The markets are much smarter than what we hear on the news. The markets already knew what was going on and have adjusted. Based on a University of Michigan consumer sentiment, consumers have not felt this bad in 40 years. Looking back in 2008, consumer confidence bottomed in the summer of 2008, but stocks didn't bottom until March 2009. So we're asking ourselves, have we reached a bottom? We're very close, guys. But what happens when you reach the bottom? There's usually a bounce. And remember, the markets are much smarter. They've already factored in everything they think the Fed is going to do. Okay. So I want you guys to be ready for the bounce. Okay. The bounce up. So stocks tend to bounce after a rate hike ends. Right now, we're still getting rate hikes, but they are slowing, and the Fed is talking about slowing its rate hikes. Okay. So investor sentiment right now is also very bearish. From a contrarian standpoint, it is very bullish. What does that mean? What does that mean? That means you need to start thinking about gathering up shares. Okay? Gathering up shares. All right. This is the company Chico and I work for. I don't promote myself very often or my company, but I want you to know these are the groups of companies that we work for, and it covers the whole gamut of the financial industry, all the way from mortgages to insurance to annuities to investments to legal protection and to lowering your costs when it comes to different things like home and house insurance. We do it all, and that's all I'm going to say about that. And then I want you to look at this one last thing here. It's the 3-bucket time frame approach to investing. So if you listened to Andre last week and you learn how to figure out how much time you actually have left in your life to do something worthwhile, this is where you're going to find your bucket, guys, of how you should be working with your money. Okay. So that being said, this will be recorded and it'll be posted later. You can look at this slide later and kind of figure out where you're at in your life, okay, and in your investment strategies. And if you want any help, Chico or myself will always be available to help you guys with this part of your life. That being said, we're going to now. And Chico, do you need to share slides? Are you going to share slides, or we just going to talk?
It's gonna depend. How much time do I got?
We have like 40 minutes.
Okay, this will be perfect.
I'm going to make you a co-host here. Hold on. In case you want to share slides, okay?
Yep.
And that's all set up. Chico, we didn't really discuss. We did this exercise, I don't know what, 3 weeks ago about our why.
Yeah.
And this is what I think. This was a great exercise I did with Chico. We actually, I don't know, we spent 40 minutes or so on the phone doing this together on a Zoom call, actually. And it was greatly helpful. So Chico, I'm giving it over to you, brother.
Okay, Alex, I got a question for you. Would you be able to locate those things that we wrote down? Do you have that thought track anywhere?
I have the notes, but they're in Iowa and I'm in
Okay.
California. I'm in
Okay.
California.
No worries. That's perfect because I'm going to open this up to some people that would like to participate here.
Yeah, invite any of your friends on, Chico.
Yeah. We'll get this thing rocking. So, my first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with giving you guys kind of my idea of success and achievement. And I believe success is something that is to be achieved effortlessly and to be the path to least resistance towards point A to point B. But it's pretty funny now that I think about it, Alex. I've never had this idea, but if you decide to take and traverse the path of least resistance to plan A to plan B, you will receive the most resistance from those outside of you that don't believe in your route, in your path. So I guess the path of least resistance, if you allow others to influence you, will actually become the one with the most resistance. So, man, that's cool. There we go. We're already having some breakthrough, guys. I love it. I love it. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys an exercise on how I found my why. And I've been somebody that's always had success in things that I've determined myself to do. And I just, I never had a deep understanding of what my driving forces were. And I always heard people tell me, they'd ask me, what is your why? And my why for the longest was why not? Like we have this opportunity, we've got people that need to be helped. I've got a gift and like I'm utilizing it and I'm having fun. And I would get to trials and tribulations and hurdles and obstacles. And I didn't have really anything centered because I wasn't having fun anymore. And it wasn't effortless. And so I didn't have anything that was helping me see through those times. Now, I went to a mentor retreat in Florida, and it's really sparked my interest in figuring out maybe not my why, but ultimately what do I want? Because I learned from my mentor, if I figure out what I want, I can peel that back and figure out why it is that I want that. And so that's the exercise that we did. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have everybody write down 3 questions. And I'll also request anybody that can have their camera on during this time. I would highly appreciate it because to put it in perspective, if I was to have my camera off and give you guys this whole presentation with just a black screen, it'd probably be pretty weird, probably be hard to kind of keep up with me and wouldn't have anywhere near the interaction and energy. So thanks everybody that will be able to have their camera on and participate. And those that have their camera on will be the ones that I will give the opportunity for me to go through the exercise with them so that they can receive some of the benefit of the exercise. So first, I'm going to start with leading your business, your opportunity, your faith, your life with your why. And I'm going to explain it through this video a bit, and then I will go through the exercise following. So this is going to show the difference between moving through life with your why and purpose leading versus like your means, products, and services meaning leading.
Do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable.
Can everybody see and hear my screen here? Okay, let's go here.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Out this pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way, and it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this: we make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You ready to buy a computer from me? All I did was reverse the order of the information. People don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple.
That was the biggest concept I wanted to illustrate, is working that from the inside out versus trying to have your means kind of make room for an ends. You kind of reverse that order. You figure out what your ends are. You find your faith, you find your passion, and you figure out how to mix that in with profits, and you're able to reach that end goal. Now, the exercise is going to start with 3 questions. Now, Lissa, I'm going to give you the opportunity for me to do this exercise with you so you can get this thought track out. Is that something you'd be interested, or would you prefer me to do it with somebody else? You're on mute, by the way.
I'll try it.
Perfect.
Whoops. I dropped my pen.
One thing we will undo is the word trying, because we either do or we don't.
Okay, I'll do it.
Good. So up at the top, I'm going to have you write, who am I? And DeLawrence, I'll have you go ahead and run this exercise as well, because I don't think me and you ever really went through this.
Okay.
So my next question that I have you answer, Lissa, is give yourself some room on your paper and then write, what do I want? And then underneath that, I'm going to have you write the question, am I okay with that? Okay, so Lissa, what I'm going to have you do, and am I saying that right? Is it Lissa?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, of course. What I'm going to have you do is answer this first question without any titles, without any of the things that somebody outside looking in could just say, okay, Lissa's a teacher, she's a mom, she's a sister, she's a daughter, she's a worker at this place, she goes to church. I want all of the titles to be set to the side, and I want to know who you are internally. Who is your being? Who is Lissa? Is it Hetrick?
Yeah.
Who is Lissa Hetrick at the being level. Who do you show up as? Who are you internally? And I'll have you write down that answer.
That's tough.
It could be a sentence, it could be a group of words, it could be a few bullet points. I just don't want any titles. I want just truly at your being level, who you are internally. And to
Okay.
give you a little bit of confidence and preface, nobody really that I do this exercise with has these answers immediately. And I always bring it to light. What is more important than who you are and how you're showing up? And if we don't have connection with that, then how can we expect to really have really much of anything truly tangible that it's just, I don't think there's anything more important. As we do this exercise, I'm assuming you'll agree. Have you made any leeway at all? Get anything written down, Lisa?
I wrote down a few words, descriptive words, but
Perfect. What do you got there for me?
I put hard worker, loyal, loving, nurturing.
Perfect.
That's
Perfect.
it.
Now, perfect. Now let's go down to the what do you want? Overall in life, Lisa, there's a lot of things that you probably want and that you'll achieve, and that will be the bullseye. I mean, that will be the dartboard. I want to know the bullseye. I want to know if you had one dart to throw on all your dreams, wishes, and desires and wants. What is the one thing that you want in your life? What do you want in life? And I'll have you
More,
write the answer.
just write it. Okay.
And then tell me what you got there, listen.
I want more free time for family.
Okay, now this is perfect. Okay, now I'm gonna have you answer the question is, why is it important for you to have more free time with your family? I'm gonna have you write that question out, or that answer. Why is it important for Alyssa to have more free time with her family? I like this. You just jumped over a couple steps that most people usually don't get to. They usually say vaguer answers. I want more freedom. Then I've got to figure out what freedom means to them. I want success. Okay, let's define success before we can move forward. And usually they don't have answers to those either, which is good because we find them together. But this is very good for you because you got a specific goal. So that's going to make things even easier for you and more directed. So what was your answer there for why it's important for you to spend more time with your family?
Because I've been working too much and too long.
Okay.
And they've kind of come last.
Okay. Now, under that, I'm going to have you answer the question. Why is it important for you to show them that they come before work? And I'm assuming a reason, at least partially, on why you're working is for their benefit. And so I would want you to let me know, why is it important for your family to understand that they are a priority in your life above work, and the work that you're doing is for them? Why is it important for them to know that? And then I'll have you answer that.
Yeah, that one's tough. Why is
it important for them to know that they are a priority and that you are doing things in order to be able to spend more time with them? All right, what do you got there?
It's because I've been showing them the opposite of that type of thing, that I've been working so hard to support them, that I've not always been present for them.
Okay, now I'm going to have you write down why it's important for you to be present for your family and not just fuel them financially and take care of that end, but being on the front of you being present. Why is that important to you and to your family?
I already wrote it.
Okay, what you got?
It's important because I've missed some key things as they've been growing up, and I have two that have moved out, because they're adults now, and then I'm on my last child, so it's
Yeah,
making me emotional.
that's usually how, this is exactly how it gets. That means we're getting where we're supposed to be going. Now, how old is your youngest?
She just turned 14.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Congratulations. Okay,
Thank you.
let's go up like three of those whys that we got to, because I want to see where we found that again. So let's go up a couple of those questions you answered. From we can go through all of them. Back
Okay.
from what I want. Go ahead and read out the what I want thought pattern that we wrote out.
More free time for my family.
Okay. And then the next one.
Um, that we discuss is because I've been just working too much to support them. And then I've been showing them the opposite of what I want, and I've missed key factors in their life. Like,
Okay.
is that right?
Yeah. And then was that the last one that we just wrote out?
Yes.
Okay. Now this opposite. So how does it affect them seeing the opposite? So not the negative version, but the positive. What benefit do they receive? And so is this your children? Is that the biggest thing that why is it important for you to show your children what it's like to be present and be able to support the family and be able to show the family and give the family what it needs? So the time, the effort, being able to go to the sports events, the other special events. Why is it important for them to not be in the same position that you're in and that you were in? Why is it important for them to not have to have their kids go through the same exact thing? I'll have you write that answer down. Why is that
Okay.
important to you to break that chain and to set that new standard?
Okay.
All right, what do you got there?
I want them to have a better work-life balance.
Okay.
So
Why is it,
that's one thing I didn't know how to do.
yeah. Now, why is it important for your kiddos to have a good work-life balance? Because I think that's pretty much what everybody wants. I think if we go ask 10, 10 people, 10 out of 10, they're gonna be like, I want to have a good work balance. Why is it important enough for you to really drive that standard and really help them and help them with your experience best understand that having that work-life balance will I don't know the benefits that you see from that. Because I would argue that I really don't have a work-life balance. I'm just comfortable being on the teeter-totter, like where it's at. Like, so work-life balance is different for everybody. What do you see the benefit is for the generations that you've created moving forward of them being able to have the clarity of work-life balance?
I think I've shown them just to really work hard, and they're doing that. But I also want them to know set aside time for the fun stuff as well. And that's one thing I wasn't very good at.
Yeah. So if I'm getting this correctly, I'm gonna have you give me some feedback. Now, what I'm thinking is that what you want is to be able to spend more free time with your family in order to, one, make up for time that you were doing things, other than what you would have preferred to have been doing. And then two, you setting that standard for your generations that you've created moving forward to be able to have like a leg up instead of being behind or going through the grind, working hard, and then not really noticing everything they're missing until it's either too late or they're kind of looking back on it. Why is it important for them to have that vision? What will that affect either their family, their mental health, their coworkers, the people that they interact with? What snowball effect will a good work-life balance kind of lead to? What are those benefits that are going to happen?
Chico, raise your volume a little bit, brother. Talk a little louder. Sorry, man.
I don't know how to answer that. I think it is. It's because I'm trying to make up for time. And I don't want them to kind of follow.
This is perfect. This is why we're here. This is exactly what we're gonna do, is we're gonna break this generational curse. So I'm gonna have you write that down right there. Exactly what you just said there. That's perfect. And I appreciate you for getting vulnerable here, because this is how you get growth. Like, in order, you've got to breaking down leads to breakthroughs. And so the only things that get shooken in a storm when the house is built of rock is the things that were needed to be broken off anyways, the things that just needed to be shedded. And any shame that you have is one thing that we want to attack as well, because shame is the devil. I don't know where you guys are at with your faith, but I'm unapologetically a believer in the universe and in God, and that there's a strategy against us through the opposition and through negative energy. And shame for anything in the past is literally something that creates anxiety, and it uses present energy thinking about an outcome that doesn't serve us, because emotion is just energy in motion. And so if we allow shame to cause anxiety in us, it will cause us to freeze and not allow us to complete that thing that we want to complete most, because we're worried about the reason why it wasn't completed in the first place. And so what we do is we utilize this emotion and we utilize this drive, because right now the way you feel is really kind of getting deep. It's getting raw into those cuts. And this is right where you want to be. Your why is supposed to be something that makes you cry. Now I'm going to have you count how many times we went through that. Why is that important to you? I think we were at 4 to 5. I'm going to have you read it out loud to me too, everything you got. Yeah, and embody it. Allow your emotion to go through this. The more emotion you allow to flow through this, the more powerful the exercise will be for you, the more benefit you get out of it. If you block your flow of your emotions and the process that your body's wanting to run through right now, you're blocking your blessings, and you have a lot of blockage where you really can't get the flow that the mind and the body and emotion needs. So let's read it down.
From the very, very beginning, or just this newer stuff?
Let's go all the way from the top, from who is Lissa Tetrick. Let's read it straight down.
Say, hard worker, loyal, loving, nurturing. I want more free time for my family, because I've just been working too much. I have been showing them the opposite of, a balanced life. And I've missed some key, things in their life.
What are some of those things that you can think of specifically?
I wasn't able to show up always for them. Part of that was the type of career I do during the day. I couldn't always get a sub so that I could go to their events.
Hold on. When you just said a sub, you're not a teacher, are you?
I'm a preschool teacher.
I don't know. I'm really glad that this is recorded, but that was the profession that I gave you when I said not a mother, yeah, I love it. That's synchronicity right there.
Yeah.
I love it. Now, yeah, so specifically, what are some of the events that you can think of that you're like, if I could have been there, I would have loved that, or they would have loved that? What are some specific events, some big ones?
Well, I couldn't help with like classroom parties. Some of my son didn't get to do sports because the hours I worked, I couldn't take him to sports. So they missed out. And then just like some of their musicals and stuff, the school stuff. If it was after hours, I could go, but if it was during the day, I couldn't show up for them.
Yeah.
And I was their main parent.
Yeah.
So
I can only
you
imagine.
actually hit my whole description in the very beginning.
Really?
Single parent, running my own business out of my home. I work with special needs kids, so it's a lot harder to find sub. So teacher, and you hit everything.
That's powerful. I love it. That's incredible. That's incredible. Okay, I
She's
didn't
also,
mean to
she's
interrupt you.
also an amazing healer. I'm just gonna add that in. She's an amazing healer. I
I can,
utilize her services.
I can see she's got some healing going on right now.
Yeah, I do energy healing for people
That's
who
really,
try to stop their emotions, which I still do.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, okay, let's keep reading down. So,
Okay.
yep.
So I want to have them have a better work-life balance. So, and I didn't write this down. So they can show up for their kids. Let's see. I want them to be able to
I'm
set
gonna have you,
aside time.
I'm gonna have you write down that extra part that you added because
Okay.
all the specifics here are really critical.
Okay. I added it so they can show up for their kids. I'm trying to make up for time that I lost. And I don't want them to copy my footsteps.
This is perfect. You traversed the path before they did and before they had to, and so they're not going into it blind. They get to go into this life with all the experience that you didn't have, and so they have a leg up. So please don't allow yourself to feel like any of your time was wasted or shameful. Those were all investments, and you just didn't know exactly what you were investing into, but now you can see you're investing into setting a standard for future generations to be able to have work-life balance, be able to have their kids do extracurricular activities and be able to have that freedom to be able to provide transportation to them, the emotional support, the presence, etc. Now, this is really perfect. So, are you comfortable with that last line, or do you think it's a little bit deeper than that, or do you think is there trauma from generations before you that your parents didn't work, they worked hard and they passed on your experience, or they worked less and you had to figure everything out on your own? Is there anything that's kind of tied up into it?
Well, my mom got to be a stay-at-home parent
Mm.
until they divorced, and then she had to go find work. But for most of my childhood, she was there.
So you've seen a different vision than what you were than like the life you lived. Is that kind of okay? So
Yeah.
your example was different than what the cards that kind of life dealt you.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
also didn't see myself being a single parent
yeah,
their whole life.
yeah. I can only imagine. Single moms are the strongest humans on the earth. Period. Period. Oh man. Period. Oh. Okay, now down here at the bottom, are you okay with that? Are you okay with who you are and what you want?
Am I okay with who I am?
With what we wrote on that list for who,
Oh,
are you okay
yes.
with that description of who you are and with what you want?
Yes.
Okay, now it's time to write out the cost. So we're going to write out every obstacle, every challenge, every pothole that you will come across to be able to have that more free time. Now, the first question for me is, what is your path, if you have one, or plan or direction now to achieve what you want, to have more free time for your family? Is it a career change? Is it a hours transition? What is, if anything, your goal or plan to achieve that now?
I definitely want that. Do you mind if I grab a Kleenex real quick?
Go ahead.
Sorry. Sorry.
So I'm gonna jump in here and take up a little of this dead airspace, but I'm just gonna say,
Dead airspace. There's
well,
nothing.
she's gonna grab a Kleenex, so I'm gonna take advantage.
Sorry.
Oh shoot, it's gone. It's gone. Anyway,
No, you can talk.
I just want to say I went through this and with Chico, a couple weeks ago, and or about a month ago, and I've been dealing with some of the hardest, most stressful things I've ever experienced in my life right now. But if you can answer these three questions that he's proposed, okay, in whatever situation you find yourself in, okay, and go through this simple exercise, okay, and thank you so much, Alyssa, for doing this. And I'm going to shut up real quick here, but I just want to say you can get through anything. You can get through anything and come out on top. So, all right, I'm going to be quiet.
That's a perfect thing that reminds me of you always, and people hear the saying, getting, I'm going through something, I'm going through something. What that means is you keep moving and there's another end on it. You're getting through it. If you're getting through something, that means there's another end on it. So that means to keep walking. Now, I always bring up the idea of religion and the passage of walking through the shadow of death, or walking through the valley of death. God doesn't say to sit in the valley of death. He doesn't say lay down in the valley of death. He doesn't say just wait for him in the valley of death. He says you walk through the valley of death, because we have two, how do you say? We have two ways to allow God to work through us. And I believe those two things are movement and repose. And so those are maybe some things to write down, and you guys can kind of look into those a little bit outside of this, because I don't want to lose the exercise that I'm doing with Lisa. I believe movement and repose are our two things that we allow God to be able to flow through us freely. So the cost, what is it going to take? Let's start writing down what changes are going to be made to be able to actualize and realize that that want that you have to have that more free time with family. I'm going to have you start writing out some of that cost, and you can say them out loud kind of while you're writing them out to kind of brainstorm a little bit. But I want to know what changes you'll make, what things you'll improve, what things you'll get rid of, what other people will say. I want to know everything that it'll cost that you can possibly think of up front right now. And while you're thinking of this and you're kind of writing that out, I can give the rest of you guys an idea. And I agree. Belief is a traveling salesman. It's never sitting in one place. That is 100% correct. I agree with that 100%. And so what we'll do to solidify this exercise, Lisa, is I will show you something that you'll be able to utilize with this every day to recenter yourself on who you are, remembering what you want and what you're willing to go through to get it. So first thing on your cost actually will be revisiting this exercise every day.
Okay.
What else you got on there for cost? What changes are going to be made? What differences are going to?
Well, I've currently been trying to create my new healing business, and promoting that, because when I get into that career, when that gets going, it will allow me to have more time and work less hours, helping other people with their healing journey.
Love it. Okay,
So,
now to make that transition, what hurdles or challenges or leaps are going to be made in order to continue the momentum there and expand that?
it's the technology.
Perfect.
I'm really struggling with putting it all together. Being another soul type business is the social media and the website and how to, network to get myself out there so that people can find me so that I can help them.
Of course. So with learning that utilizing the technology, in my opinion, there's two ways to do it. Either one, you learn it on your own, or two, you outsource it. What do you think you would be doing, at least from the beginning? Do you think you'd be learning on your own, or do you have the means to be able to outsource that type of help?
I don't, well, right now I have somebody that in exchange for sessions. We haven't met yet on the details to help build my website and my platform. I have a platform, but it's just very not user friendly.
Yeah.
And Alex has been helping me with like my calendar and Zoom. He's helped teach me how to utilize Zoom, and that's been phenomenal. Everyone loves the Zoom sessions better than just like the phone call sessions, and I love it too because I need my hands for my job for the healing, and it frees up for me having to hang on the phone and try to do the healing stuff. So
Awesome.
I'm
Awesome.
I'm slowly starting to get there, but yes. And I forgot the other thing that you said. Yeah, outsource eventually. I do want to outsource. I'd rather somebody take care of that, um, so that I can focus on the healing and the clients.
We're gonna work on this thinking a little bit. You're not doing anything slowly. Everything works in perfect timing in the universe. So you're traversing through your journey at the exact pace you're supposed to be. So don't allow any of those negative things to stick
Oh.
in or anything like that. That is all that is man-made construct time. You are moving in your purpose, period. And that's what you're doing. Now, the cost. Yeah, so learning the technology, figuring out how to better utilize the help around you, trading your services for other people's talents. Let's write all that down, all those costs, and try to think of the difficult stuff for sure. Think of the things that you don't want to come across, but in all reality, you most likely will. So yeah, costs like advertising. There's going to be monetary costs. There's going to be physical and emotional costs because maybe you're the content creator of this stuff. So you've got to take the time to create just mental space, meditation, outsourcing, mentoring, coaching, everything that you can think possibly that's going to come across your path on achieving more free time with my family.
Hey, Chico. So we're coming up to the last 10 minutes and I want to open up for questions. Lissa, are you okay with that? Or do you need to go a little
I'm
further?
definitely
Okay.
well, I actually have a session right at 11 that I'm gonna have to
Oh,
prepare
okay.
for. I need a few minutes. So yeah, I don't know how to, or if we can meet later
Did
to
you
finish this up.
did you benefit from this, Lissa?
Oh, absolutely. This has
Okay.
been phenomenal. Plus
If I can take 45 seconds, Alex, I'll be able to wrap up her
Yeah.
time. And it's
Yep.
actually 49.
okay.
I think I got it. Okay, so the cost. What have you got written out so far?
The idea is mentoring, more time to, for the creation. It will take more time to settle this up. And there'll be some financial costs with like that go out for to settle this up and potentially hire other people.
Perfect. So the financial costs and the creation. We won't do it right now, but I want you to get as specific as possible. What type of creation? Well, I'm going to create Facebook posts. Well, I'm also going to create, really let your mind go through what it's going to create. Write that out. And same thing for the financial cost. What can you forecast and see right now that money is going to be invested in certain places and it will give you greater benefit and closer to your ultimate goal of what you want free time with your family? I want you to write out all the financial things that you feel like that you can invest in and that you maybe lose money in along the way to get there. You write all that out, and if you're okay with that cost for what you want, then I'll have you autograph it. So I'll ask you, Lisa, are you okay with the cost you've got written down, even though it's not fully expanded? Are you okay with that cost and going through that to get what you want?
I am okay with that because it will get me to where I want to go. I mean,
Perfect.
it will get me to my goal and my dreams.
Exactly. So go ahead and autograph that. So now your thing would be is to just run through this every day. Just write this out every day. Who am I? Write out your words that you are. And I'd utilize that one because otherwise it'll change often. And you want it to be with your original emotional tie and the anchor that was set here when we did this. But okay. thank you so much for allowing
Thank
me
you.
the opportunity to pour in, and that was a lot of fun.
Listen,
All right, questions.
I want,
Anybody's
I
got
want,
questions?
I want to, before we do that, I'm going to just say, Lisa, thank you. Um, you had me teared up, girl. Uh, so love you very much. Um,
Love you too.
okay.
And thank you, Chico.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Of course.
guys can see why Chico is such a good friend. I hope you can see that. Um, I just want to say before we open the questions, you know, I've been practicing this exercise. Okay, so I want to recap 3 questions. Who am I? What do I want? And am I okay with that? And I think am I okay with that means am I willing to pay the price to make things different?
Now, that's a two-faceted question too, because
Okay,
some people aren't going to be okay with who they are and what they want. So
okay,
sometimes that okay is is like a bumper to say, okay, let's go back up to the top to make sure we're okay with these things and they align. Because if you're not okay with them, the cost doesn't matter. You're not even okay with the goal.
yes,
So
sir.
you got it exactly, Alex.
And then I know who Chico's mentor is. One of
Hey,
at least one of them. I'm not
hey.
gonna say Chico unless you can share that, but I'm just gonna say he's one of the best in the world mentors. And it shows in Chico at 26 years old. It shows Chico's been able to talk in front of thousands of people, and in our company alone. So, and he, like I said, he's about to be promoted. This guy's going to go places. We're going to be hearing his name for many years to come. Anyway, let's open up for questions. Anybody?
Yeah. Oh, I think Liz is taking off for her.
Bye, Lissa. I love you.
Yeah. All right. Does anybody have any questions, or does anybody want, let's see. I'm trying to think. I've had a lot of really, really good stuff come across recently. Let's think. Hmm. Hmm.
All right. I'm going to ask a question. Did anybody relate to what Lissa was saying and her answers? Did any of you guys relate to that? Because
I believe Christina dropped in the chat.
yeah, she dropped a bomb
Uh,
in the comments.
yeah.
She might be
Yeah,
driving.
it was. I can unmute now. Listening to Lisa was so incredibly emotional for me, because I too was a school teacher, raised 2 children. They're adults now, but I still feel myself in that constant hustle and struggle to give them what I always feel like they were robbed of, and myself as well. So my root thing is what came out finally through all those questions. So I appreciate you, Chico. It's the root of a lot of my blocks, just going through this exercise.
That's so awesome. The moment that you start becoming aware of those and put attention and intention on those is the exact moment you gain the power to eliminate them, overcome them, and use them as your story. One thing that I've learned is in life, you get dealt a hand of cards, and what your job is to do is turn your mess into your message.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for years for me, it was just anger, the fear, of course, that comes with single parenting, but the anger that I was like when Lisa said, I was raised by a mom that was always at home. So was I. And I was raised by a father that, they had their issues, they had their struggles, but he never left. He never gave up. And so when that happened to me, I was like, I still struggle with accepting it. And that's my biggest cost, is I have to accept it and move forward.
Ooh, here we go. I got some good ones for us. And Alex, I don't know if Alex supports this one, but you don't have to do anything, Christina. There's only 2 things that you don't have choice in life. And the first one is being born. And then the second one is that you've got to live until you die. So you don't have to accept that. You don't have to come to that realization. You will do that when you choose to.
Hmm.
So you put
That's
your
that's so true, Chico. If I were to do the addition and subtraction on how many times I've failed or how many times I've succeeded, I don't think I'd be happy with the number. So I refuse to accept that crap, okay? Because today's a new day. And I challenge you guys, um, do not look back and judge yourself by your past.
Hmm.
And this is why it's so important to figure out, who am I? What do I want? And am I okay with that? Guess what? That happens right now in the present. And right now we're in the present. So, Chico, man, we're at the end, dude. I hope this helps you for your training of your team, because I'm gonna put this on YouTube and on in this group, and any of the people on your team that want to join our group, please have them join. Or let me know their names, I'll add them. But dude, you did us a great service. I love you, brother.
love you too, man. Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
I want to end with prayer. Chico, would you be so kind?
Yeah, yeah.
This
All right.
group ends with prayer. So
Okay. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Okay.
I want to throw something in real quick. I'm sorry I was late to the party, but I'm another single mom, and I'm just amazed at the single. My children are grown. I'm not going to discuss anything, but I'm amazed how many single moms on this call are.
Yeah.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing, and it is hard, and you should give yourself a lot of kudos for it.
and
for
we
being a
love
single
we
mom.
love our single moms. I'm telling you, you guys are inspirational to a lot of us men out here. Okay, that probably could not do what you're doing. You're amazing people.
I agree. Okay, so I'll lead us in prayer.
Thank you.
All right. So, God, thank you so much for bringing us all together and reminding us that we are all connected to one singular source. And I ask that we may receive the highest level of clarity. Am I not loud enough, Alex?
That was Tom. That was Tom chiming in.
Oh,
Our Tom. Okay.
so I ask God for us to be able, and everybody in this call, to be able to receive the highest level of clarity from the highest source available. And I hope that everyone that was in this meeting today was able to take away something to gain. And I know that this was probably a more powerful meeting for me than anybody else, because every time I go through this exercise with people, it helps open up the blockages that I've created within myself, and reminding me that we have energy all coming from the same place. Our intelligence all comes from the same place, and we are here to thrive together as a community and in a society versus being on our own and being alone. And we are all performing for an audience of one. And I appreciate you so much, God, and I'm guarding my gratitude throughout the rest of this day. I appreciate that you've given everybody on this call our daily bread. And I hope everybody is able to identify that there is a strategy against us through the prince of the air of darkness. And we have faith and belief that you will help us take every step we need as we walk through the valley of death. Amen.
Thank you, Chico. Hey guys, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. We'll resume our meetings after the new year, okay? I've
Sounds-
got a crazy life going on right now. And I'm winning, but I'm also struggling. But that's the name of the game. And I love you all. Thank you for being here. And new faces, thank you for being here. And Chico, brother, thank you so much. We'll see you guys after the new year.
We're
All
here
right,
for you, Alex. All
Thank
of
you.
us are here for you. You're not alone.
Yes, we're here for you, Alex.
oh yeah,
Thanks.
buddy. Heck yeah, we can listen to some Neville Goddard together.
See you guys. Love you.
All right. Love you
Serious.
guys. God bless
Love
you.
you
Merry
too.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.